15, New Mexico. We'll get back to that later. 14, Michigan State. 13, Georgia Tech. 12, Minnesota. Duke 11th. Florida State 10th. NAU 9th. Big. That's who would have thought the women's team now a top 10 program. NAU 9th. Boise State 8th. Colorado 7th. Alabama 6th, led by Mercy Chilanga. Arkansas 5th. Hey, maybe they could win both indoor and outdoor. Who would have thought? Double. Stanford 4th. NC State 3rd. Washington 2nd. And BYU 1. So Washington and BYU I put in the 1-2 spot ahead of North Carolina State and ahead of Stanford. What are your thoughts on these rankings that we have now?
Okay, so we should say NC State, that does not include Tui, which in a forecast this tight and with a winning score that you're projecting this high could be massively important, will be massively important. Then we get to Stanford, where you have Lawson, I think, projected somewhere in the 40s, and you have Aubrey Roberts somewhere in the hundreds. I don't think that holds. So I think the team that has the most room for growth here in these rankings of that top tier is definitely Stanford. BYU is interesting. Okay, they have Orton, obviously, that solid number 1 stick. Anna Camp ran really well. You have her 6th in the nation. Might be a bit ambitious, but I looked at how you charted. I went into the 250, Gordon, because everybody should dig into the 250. Don't just do the top 25. Like, figure out who's 174th, too. And you have BYU's 5th in the hundreds. So there's certainly – so you might say, okay, their number 2 isn't going to be top 10, which – there's a good likelihood that she won't. But they could make those points up somewhere else. Is it unrealistic that BYU's 5th is in the 80s, in the 70s? Certainly not. They definitely could pack everybody in to the top 100 and then drop some points there too. I see this. I think you're being way too harsh on New Mexico too, but I'll let you explain. Yeah. I see this. I think those 4 teams, BYU, Washington, North Carolina State, Stanford, I would put in a tier alone. And I actually would throw in Colorado to that tier. And the reason I would throw in Colorado to that tier is they just have a ton of experience when you look at the transfers that they bring in. And I think you're going to see them improve and come on really strong this last 6 weeks of the season because experience is going to start to pay off. So they have people like Abby Nichols from Ohio State, Michaela DeGeneiro of Michigan, Rachel MacArthur, right? All these transfers who have run in a lot of big time races. You mix them in there with all the other pieces that they have with Mark Whitmore and Heather Burrows. So I see this as a 5-team race right now. And I don't know. I would not have had BYU number 1, but it's so close and there's so many question marks still. You had to pick somebody.
Yeah. And right now, this is going to be a high scoring, like you said, it's going to be a high scoring team win. I right now have BYU winning it with 138 points. For perspective, BYU got 2nd with 108 points last year. Mm-hmm. So I have them being worse this year, but winning, so, and I think it's just, the entire field has kind of been diluted. You see New Mexico lose Wayne Kalati. You see this, NC State's freshman not really seen much, right? Caitlin Tui has yet to run in an NC State uniform, and she's had multiple opportunities. She had all fall cross country. NC State women have been running some indoor 5Ks and 3Ks, and she hasn't been in any of them. I think that is a sign of like, what are you holding her out for? If you're not going to run her now, when are you going to run her? That's why I had to look at NC State a little bit different and be like, all right, maybe they're not going to be that 3 freshmen up front type team. Maybe they're going to hold out some of them and they're not perfectly healthy and they have a lot of depth. And just like in Stanford, we were expecting that. I know we talked about this, the 1-2 punch of Donahue and Lawson. Lawson didn't look good in the FSU Classic. And I had to start. I can't only wait. Hey, well, if you did well in 2019 cross, you're going to do well in 2021 cross. I had to start giving people credit and lose credit based off what they've done on the cross-country course in the past few months. Now, I think
Yeah.
this upcoming weekend or 2 weekends from now, Stanford, Colorado, and New Mexico are going to race in Nevada. And I think that will change these rankings. I think if one of those teams has a great race, I could see them increasing their stock and being ahead of BYU, especially a team like New Mexico, which we have ranked 15th. They're ranked 15th because a lot of their athletes haven't done much in a long time.
Yeah.
They're all based off of 2019 marks. And I was like, hey, I can't really talk about 2019 track right now in 2021. I do think New Mexico is going to probably show up at Nevada and win it with like 3 new names in their top 5. And then when I add those 3 new names, they're going to go from 15th to like a top 3 team. I think that's going to happen.
Okay, so you think there's like 6 teams that could win this thing then?
Yeah, I do think I'm just waiting for New Mexico to do something. They haven't done anything. They haven't run in a long time, and I just can't. I stopped doing like, oh, I just know you're going to be good. I took that all out. No more. I know you're going to be good. It's all about literally I need results, and New Mexico hasn't given me a result right now. They will in 2 weeks, and then most likely I think if it's good, they'll bump into the top 4, 5.